Remember to have a good time tonight.
Hello and welcome to Moses and Friends. I am your host, Moses Storm. This is the show where we take all of our favorite people from the Team Coco world and we put them up live, whether it's actors, comedians, musicians, entertainment lawyers, you name it. The show is, well, let's say this. It's not going to be the best thing of your day. It might be something great. We hope to distract you for a little bit on this very weird year that you are having. It's just happening to you personally. No one else. We're all killing it. The most we could say is that maybe we could bum you out so much that you would feel better about your life. And isn't that something to walk away with? You know what? At least I didn't choose to be a sad touring clown for a profession. I have job security. My three guests tonight, we're going to do something a little different, bring them on all at once. Alex Edelman, who has an album out called Until Now. Very funny comedian, Jak Knight, who you know from Big Mouth, and a comedian that means the most to me, has been a huge influence on my career. She's got an Audible special out, countless specials on Netflix, Maria Bamford. So welcome, everyone, to the show. Jak, Maria, and Alex.
Oh my God.
Alex, do you have a room that's less echoey? Though we love your CNN background. The audio is a little right? Jewish specialists. Oh, that's worse. Now go back to your CNN room. That's
the worst. You want me to just go in the closet, in the linen closet?
It looks like you were on the toilet.
I'm not on the toilet. This is my I don't know what to do.
I just want to say your place is super cute, though. It is very clean lines. Nice work.
The British comedy market is paying incredibly well. There's multiple rooms.
Yeah, and we always have an extra space that we will kick you out of after 3 to 4 weeks. You will be going. Are you living in England?
No, I live in Silver Lake.
Okay, I was going to say, somebody said something about how...
Or he spends a lot of time in the British comedy community.
It's good. It pays well.
It really did, because American comics like Maria Bamford started doing well at places like Melbourne Comedy Festival, and I thought maybe there was an opportunity there. And
they also review comedy like it's something you put more than 10 minutes of thought into.
Which I disagree with.
I liked it better when we were listed right between karaoke and strip clubs.
Yeah, don't add nuance to us. Just leave it where it's supposed to be. Don't bring, that's what made everything fucked. Like, we aren't.
Maria, has a review ever poisoned the way you view your act? Like, has someone given you a too much of a fluffy interview or like put a point of view on you of like what she's saying is really about the SEALs?
Well, I think it's just when you just feel bad, like a 3-star review where you go, oh, I shouldn't even exist. Like, I want to be at the half star. I want to be 1 star where I'm at least providing inspiration for people who can't do anything, or, you want to be doing very well. But so I've gotten a couple of 3-star ones that have been very sad. Where they've been right.
I guess I mean a positive review where it's something that you just thought was fun and dumb, and then someone puts this extra meaning on it, where it's like she's actually talking about inequality and poverty with women with bangs. You're like, I didn't mean any of that.
Well, and I think that's what critique is about, is to make it not as funny.
Right, to break something down.
Is it the purpose or the absolute side effect of it?
The only thing you can get from reviewing comedy outside of is the joke funny or not is there nuance in the joke. And I think we all share the same thought with our favorite comedians. There usually is not. And so it's a person looking for something deeper in a place that doesn't need to be that deep. And even if it is or it isn't, it shouldn't value the comedy less or more. Like, I remember I got a 3.5 star at I'm drawing a blank on the wonderful theater in London that everybody goes to. Soho Theater. I was there with Alex.
That was a great show.
But they gave me a 3.5, and it was like he's up there fucking around and like having fun. It's like, what is that? We don't do that here. I'm like, oh, okay, that's fair. But then I went on Twitter and it was like this long thread from this Black girl who was just like, I want to go see Jak Knight show and I love American humor, and that, like, they're both wrong. It was phenomenal, but like,
right.
But it was the I definitely sat with the thread more than I sat with the review.
What was your thesis when you said booty be like?
Well, it all started at the ripe age of 16, and
I want you to commit to this little conceit right now and actually take us from 16 to present day, Jak. That's what I was.
It was just drinking and trying to figure out what can I destroy in front of me. But
also, like comics, there are good critics and bad critics. Some critics I don't respect, and some critics I'm like, filmgeek.co.nz, and some critics are like really like A.O. Scott or Pauline Kael. Like, there are really good critics who do really good criticism.
Melbourne.
What?
Some of my favorite reviewers were from Melbourne. Like when I did All Stars, like the way they broke down everybody, I was like, I agree with all of this. We suck.
Yeah. I don't read reviews, but my friend Adam reads all the reviews, and he's like, hey, every review is mentioning that you do this, so do you want to keep doing that? And that is a really good thing to have. My problem when I do a lot of shows in a row, like for a month, is that whatever the best response I got, that's what I'm going to expect every show from then on. And if I don't do it, I'll just like try to be over something, trying to get it out of them. So I always have to. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Has any of you taken a negative review as like, oh, that's actually right? Because it's also comes with this giant grain of salt of like, well, you don't do this, you know? You write about who you think is good, but you're not on stage. But if you've taken a negative review and been like, I do that thing, I do bail early.
In 2015, Cat Williams said that I'm built silly and I need to use it. So why is he writing for Vulture? Why is Cat Williams writing? He pulled me aside. He was wearing 2 fur coats. The underneath one was purple, the top one was white, and he was with 2 women who didn't want to be there. And he watched my whole set and then like went joke for joke and broke it down and what he liked and didn't like. Nothing of like interest. And then he stops and he goes, looks me up and down. He goes, "You're built silly. You need to use that."
Did you change your act in terms of being more?
I tried to definitely like be more animated when I deliver a joke in March when we're all allowed to do this.
Yeah.
But I don't know why we're speaking like we're currently performing every night, but I don't know. I know Moses is, but
yeah.
Alex,
I am. I'm
Maria,
a
are you guys out?
anti-vaxxer. I'm a huge fake. I'm out there at super spreader events performing. Maria, you had a review that made you think different?
You know, these are amalgamation of several thousand criticisms that I've had, most of them on YouTube, saying I should kill myself. Surprisingly, how many times? When I've already thought of it so many times myself. But no, they said that I have. That's not an insult when I'm already thinking of it. You know, all my voices sound the same. Very true. I only do about 6 voices. I totally agree to that. And then that I'm not political in terms of I will say something very passive aggressively, which is so you're not totally clear where I stand. If I don't actually say outright, you know, Donald Trump is like I won't say it. I'll just, do a metaphorical thing, which is very true. Once I did a terrible show, Fresno, California, where I did not rehearse for the show. And as I've gotten older, I need to rehearse. Anyways, didn't rehearse. I mumbled throughout the show, not the greatest idea. I wrote the stuff. You'd think I'd project it.
Yeah.
And I refunded everyone their money. And then some of those people gave that refunded ticket money to a local mental health charity.
You asked them to do that.
Unprompted.
Oh my God.
Unprompted?
Yes.
Where was this?
It was in Fresno. There's a big theater in Fresno.
The Authority on Mental Health, Fresno, California. You know, the progressive thought leaders of Fresno. That is insane.
But they were not wrong. But what was hilarious is after the show, it was like very, you know, people were fans saying, "Oh, it's a great show, great show." But then there was like this big thing on Facebook, just people saying, I was really disappointed. And they were correct. I was defensive at first, and then I listened to it and I was like, oh shit. I'm sorry. So sometimes I think criticism is extremely helpful to go, wow, I need to be honest that I need to rehearse before shows. Otherwise, I might be mealy-mouthed and confused on stage.
That makes me feel better because I do the same thing. Like in the hotel, people are like, let's meet up before the show. I run the entire hour out loud like a psycho in my hotel room where I need to talk because I'm just not good if I don't do it.
I don't do that. That's so wild to me but like it makes, to me, being prepared is I record every show and then I listen back the next morning. But before I go on stage, I try to have my mind be like, I try to focus on the songs that are playing from the front of house playlist because for me, selling a show, like trying to sell the material after I've done it a bunch of times is its own unique challenge.
Right.
So I feel like if I rehearse it, I'm going to be like, hey, how's everybody doing tonight? Fantastic. Okay. So I was at the super, like it's just going to come out.
Oh, to be excited about stuff you've been doing for a while.
Yeah.
And I don't perform, I'm not performing as much as you do.
But you're also a integral live performer in that the kind of laughs you get, I mean, the three of us, we've all been in the back of the room when you're performing. It's not the kind of laugh where it's like, I recognize a joke happens. You're getting like deep guttural laughs from something that you've committed so hard to that there's no bailing. There's no like, part of people are laughing like, she's really doing this for a group of adults. So I understand that, and that you have to, if you're doing characters and you're really selling a performer and not just here's the written joke next, you have to warm up your voice, your whole instrument.
Yeah, and it's also, I've gotten older, and also with the loss of ambition with age, which I just generally don't care as much. So I have to do it over and over again to remind myself of what I wrote down. And I'll do it for other people off Twitter too, because I can't even get myself to do it by myself in the hotel room. I have to get a fan to meet me at a Dunkin' Donuts parking lot, and I'll do it from there.
I see you tweet that and sometimes want to be the person. I'm not kidding. You'll be like, hey, is anybody? And I'm like, I'll go to Houston today if I can spend an hour just hearing your jokes face to face.
Wait, you would do this before COVID? You would rehearse for someone? I thought this was just a COVID thing.
No, before COVID, the last couple years, I've just because I need to rehearse and I don't have the willingness to do it by myself anymore, I have to get a witness. And Twitter is beautiful. You can get somebody to meet you at any time of day. I just say, I don't tell everyone where it is, but just the one person I pick. And then it's always turned out to be a super nice person. Because they're afraid too. Does
that person come to the show later, or they're like, well, I saw it at Dunkin' Donuts?
So yeah, exactly. Sometimes I'm like, oh my God, why are you coming to the show tonight? You'll have already seen it. But I don't. Yeah, it's the only. I haven't had any bad experiences, but I've also kind of done some. Like if somebody has. Because you know how somehow you get fans who don't listen to any of your politics, and they're like, "You're just fun."
We love you from Target. You know, You're so funny. We saw just a billboard of you at the Target, and we're like, "What is her?"
From 15 years ago.
But then there's like Trump flags, and people talk about skull shapes, and you're like, "Yikes! I don't want to do well for you."
Yeah, so that's something that's helped me, and I've been doing the Zoom things where I do it one-on-one with people, and I'll do it as a 6-foot distance too, outside if people want that here in Duluth. Been doing that a little bit.
For you and Jack, I have a question. So you've gone the other way. I think right away as a comedian, you went. Even I was a little reluctant to do online and Zoom shows. It's just like, this is so depressing. But you went right away to Zoom shows. Jack, I don't know where it's posted, but I have not seen you do any online shows outside of this one. Here.
I mean, no, I only came here because I love everybody that's here. Outside of that, I just didn't see a point. I'm sorry, I just didn't see a point to doing it. And I felt that this was the time to learn something new and build other parts of what you do as a comedian. And so I've been doing mostly that during this period. Like I miss stand-up with, like, I genuinely go through phases where I'm like, oh, all of this is not worth it without stand-up. And I get depressed and sad about it. I genuinely have those little breakdowns, but I've fortunately found 2 to 3 other things that I can do and have ready for when COVID is never done.
What are those things for someone that is, because I've talked to friends that are comedians that are really having a hard time with this.
Yeah, same.
And for me, it's like, I like live performing. I hate this. I like talking to people, but I hate, just performing like this. What are the things that you found that are fulfilling enough to keep you motivated doing that thing, even though there's no end in sight? There's no promise that like whatever you're writing is going to be made. Or
I just got fortunate that before everything kind of went down, I got lucky with a network, and so we're making a thing. But it was just like diving into animation as much as I possibly can, and even being a big fan of seeing what Maria has done on Big Mouth was like inspirational in itself. And like understand, like when you're such a stand-up for the beginning part of your career, you kind of you know other shit, but you don't know it. And so I've just been going back and like doing my research, and like, so if I'm going to have these conversations with these people, I need to not just know Gendy Tarnakoski. I need to know everybody that led to a Gendy Tarnakoski. I need to know everybody that led to a Ralph Baskin. I need to know everybody that led to Aaron Magruder on Boondocks. Like I got to understand these animation studios, these people. And it's like the same way that us four can sit around and talk shit and we can name comedians from the 1920s to now, I want to have that same level of knowledge when it comes to, and that's just how I feel. That's why I've been on.
Well, you can tell you leaned heavily into anime because of the sword behind you. Yes.
Yeah, no.
Oh, is that a katana?
It is. My girlfriend got it for my birthday.
What's it from? Is there must be more to that katana than just...
Katanas are guns in Japan, so they don't even make them there. She had to order this from China.
Oh my God, that's...
And it's fully functional. This is a COVID purchase. Is there any plan of like
pure COVID purchase?
Or just
pure
COVID.
Would have happened.
Do you pull it out when you're like making a salad? Do you just like take a katana to the cucumber? You have it in the house.
I used to be on a daily tip where I would just like play Jodeci and play with the sword, but now it's like I like hurt myself and didn't tell nobody. So like I was just like, all right, I'm not gonna play with it as much.
Jack holds up four fingers.
Yeah.
You're just like, I don't want to say it.
I cut the back of my calf, and then like everybody around me was like, you're gonna end up cutting yourself. You're gonna end up cutting yourself. I cut the back of my calf, didn't tell nobody, and was just like, no, I just, it's more decoration. I don't really think I should be like,
If Moses comes back with a weapon of some kind, I'm gonna freak out. Oh my God, are you kidding me?
Beautiful.
I kept this because I'm so embarrassed of this purchase. At
On the
14,
road? You carry a sword with you on the road? You're shitting me.
Not on the road. I bought this at 14 because I was very into Lord of the Rings, and I had hit no puberty, so I looked maybe 10, and I would act out scenes in the backyard with this exact sword. I've not let it go because it's such an embarrassing purchase.
No.
It was a lot of money for 14. Bought it off of eBay. Had to intercept the package before my mom found it because we were not allowed to buy anything at all. And
I have
when
one.
everyone was
I
out,
have one as
stick it
well.
around.
Moses, I've got the same thing. This was made in Taiwan, not China or Japan, but it does.
Yeah.
It's probably longer than.
You've gotten into contracting. You've gotten into scamming rich people out of construction projects and saying it's gonna take way longer than it hopes. Maria, what was there any apprehension, or you just leaned right away into the Zoom shows? When Jack was like, okay, let's do something else, you were like, I need to perform.
Again, can I mention again that I'm old and I've tried different things like I tried script writing and stuff like that, and it's just I'm not good at it, and so I'm just doing the things that I'm good at. So now I have some internet. I give people stickers. That's a sticker during the show.
Kamala Harris? Who is that?
No, guess what? They have multicultural, also empowering female stickers at your local Michael's or craft store. Also, you can just, what if I put on a mustache halfway through the show? And it's
Michael's is for white people that have a lot of time on their hands. So they do crafts. We support you. I made a sign. Oh, you have a mustache? Look at this.
This is what happens when comedians don't have stand-up. Some of us have stickers and mustaches. Some of us have swords.
I am insanely into my air fryer.
Oh, really?
I have a Ninja air fryer, and I talk about that every day. That's how nothing I have. I have nothing. So all I do is like, I bet you I can burn your sandwich.
Can you put Oreos in there?
Yeah. I put some flour batter on that motherfucker. We can fry some Oreos. Come on over.
That's so fucking cool.
Coolest diabetic of all time. He has fried that motherfucker.
I've made two batches of fried chicken since COVID, and it is very hard to make. It is so good and then very difficult to make. So
KFC has a log that you can burn that smells like fried chicken. They put out they sell it at Walmart, and I don't know who would do that to their family. Oh, look at this air fryer.
That's what you need, Maria. That's what you need, Maria.
My God.
Let me know. Let me know when you want me to pull up with my air fryer. We can get the chicken really going with you.
Moses, that seems so cruel. A log.
Yeah.
Wait, so can you imagine if that started a forest fire, and so for like 90,000 acres of Southern California smells
like fried chicken? I hope so. Is that smell burned in your memory? Because Alex used to work at a KFC in, of all places, Penn Station.
Yes. Here's the thing. People are like, do you hate fried chicken? I'm like, no, I just hate fried chicken that comes out of a bag frozen. So every other kind of fried chicken, if I see it made and it's not coming directly out of a bag frozen, I love it. But I haven't been to, I didn't go to KFC for years after I stopped working in the fine dining game because you don't return to Vietnam. But it was you don't go back on vacation. But it was really
you start to smell like those places too. It's I have a great sense memory, and I dated someone in high school. She worked at KFC, and it was a constant. She'd shower, and it was just always in her pores.
And also you smell not just you don't smell like fried chicken, you smell like a combination of all the ingredients. And I was a kosher Jew, so I couldn't eat bacon. And my friends were like, I'm sorry, but you smell like a little bit like bacon and a bunch of other stuff. So why do you smell forbidden? What is going on here?
Did you ever, as a Orthodox Jew, have to assemble a Baconator?
Yes, I used one of those hazmat suits.
Sizzles.
It was one of those hazmat suits. I had to put it on and just so. I actually had bacon once on accident. My roommate in college had some macaroni and cheese in the fridge, and I asked if I could have some. And as I was eating it, I was like, "These sun-dried tomatoes are incredible." And he's like, "What's sun-dried?" Oh no! And I was real theatrical about it. I really milked it. I went to the garbage and spat it out, and everyone was like, "You're still going to hell," it's not.
Do you feel guilty about it, or do you just? I feel like you're a
best thing that's ever happened to me. But no,
he's eating bacon all the time. He has.
Do you have to? You have to go talk to somebody after you do that? How do you renew your license after you plunder? So in Catholicism, you have a priest, but in Judaism, you have to write a letter to Mel Brooks. And no, you're fine. You're fine. You just keep going. You do whatever.
Alex, did you ever have the payas?
No and yes, because the reason the payas are those curly earlocks, there's a biblical commandment that you have to keep some of this around your ears. So this is why I do that. I have these because
is the idea to keep you celibate?
What?
The worst haircut to keep you celibate?
Yeah. Yes. They give you plenty of protection when you're a young man. No, but I put on tefillin every day. Those leather things that you put on your arm. Yeah. And when I'm in that, there are these.
They do a prayer over you. I did this on Birthright. I think if your name is Moses, you can lie and say you're Jewish enough.
Yeah, you went on Birthright?
Well, my dad is technically Jewish, but you're only Jewish if your mom is Jewish. But it was enough, and they saw Moses, and the whole idea behind Birthright is just
you're half Jewish, Moses?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
All of us are.
Everyone is.
You have such a perfect, you look like someone who would have been chasing me 70 years ago. I'm shocked. You're Jewish. I call Moses Moshe as a joke, and the joke is because to me, but that makes.
I mean, not culturally, but Free Trip, absolutely, where a program is trying to get just the whole idea behind Birthright is that you will hook up with someone on your trip, move there, and there'll be more of you than there is Palestinians.
It's like when Rachel Dolezal went to the BET Awards.
Did she really? Is that true?
BET Awards?
No, but that would be amazing.
He's hosting The Masked Singer, which is not ideal.
It's Rachel Dolezal.
It's so funny because when you're in your early 20s, you want to win every award. You want to do everything. I remember watching the Image Awards, and I was like, how do I win one of those? How am I gonna get some award from? How am I get a Soul Train award or something like that?
The amount of outrage that you would get, Alex Edelman, my dad
walking on stage.
Christmas. Yes.
This is true. I would be the first white person to ever appropriate black music for their own benefit. I'd be the first one. Absolutely the first one.
Oh, wow.
Crazy.
I just love the idea of DC Young Fly being like, Alex, boy, just come on.
Yeah.
I want to thank the Migos. I want to thank Rick Rubin. I want to thank Aaron Magruder, actually. Boondocks is so good, Jack. And since you said that, there's so much good animation.
Perfect.
It's really stunning.
Yeah, are you working on your own project now? What can you talk about it?
But trying.
Is there a
It's just
deadline
regular.
article?
No. I hope never. I don't want to ever be. I don't want anyone to quote tweet my accomplishments. That's my biggest fear.
Nick Kroll is attached. I'm going to say Nick Kroll.
That's my biggest fear. Is like something to be announced and then above it is just like in 2016 he called me fat, and it's like well, just don't announce it. Just put the show out. Don't even say I'm not even anywhere near.
Yeah. Well, I wonder how much the animation has influenced you as a performer. What I've noticed is if you guys, this is like a very real plug and not like a show busy thing. You and Zach Fox have a Doomsday mixtape.
So good.
Which is a podcast, but it divulges into some of the best riffs that are, it could be sketches. It could be a Key and Peele type show. In that I'm howling laughing. I'm like falling asleep trying to listen to a podcast, and it's upsetting. So I wonder how much animation has changed that in your mind where you start thinking of things as not, because I think before you were doing like concept jokes where you're like, here's this idea. I know it's unpopular. Let me argue for it. The lawyer thing. And I think now, at least what you guys are doing on that podcast seems like you're essentially talking out sketches.
Especially with you and Alex. You guys have like these 13-minute ideas that you just perfectly break down, and it's funny every beat of the way. And that just wasn't the way that I was raised to be funny. You know what I mean? Like, it was just like, I was raised in such short bursts. Who's the loudest? Who can say the most abrasive sentence at the back of this bus? Who can get the most amount of attention in this lunchroom as fast as possible? And so you can't really break down a whole story about how you broke your leg on a Ferris wheel in middle school, and that's why you couldn't go on a date with somebody. Like, I did, that was.
That's my greatest adversity story.
I was just like, that
I
feels
sprained
like
my ankle.
That feels like it's aimed at roasting either one of us, and I'm like, touche, good sir.
Great example, but it's like I would watch it. I'm like, these guys are fucking brilliant.
First of all, it was my arm and a tilt-a-whirl.
It was just, and Moses is right. Moses has known me since I started comedy, and like he's there. Like, it's just been I've evolved from the same way I've been telling jokes since me and him were like in our early 20s.
Jack and I started open mics. He would essentially say the most outrageous thing and then build a case around why that was true until people were on his side.
But
and that level of confidence, why we're at these terrible open mics was just something I learned from, and it was like, oh, I didn't know you could do that. On the other side, with Maria, I used to intern at UCB, and I would just watch your stuff over and over again. I didn't know you could leave the audience, in that I feel like you go so deep into character that a lot of the time you're like checking in with the audience. Can I continue? Here's this joke. Do you like it? It feels like you're so laser focused on these characters that you just leave and you do the character. Was that always something that you had? Or did you learn that from somewhere? Because that is something that I've directly stolen from you.
Oh, good. I think I'm an introvert, so I'm not super comfortable. It's not my go-to to be with people, usually. So
you're not like, look at this guy's shirt. Look at you, flannel again.
Which I love as an audience member. Like, I love, oh my God, you saw my sweater and my necklace.
Yeah.
Like, I love that, but I am so awkward and sort of a cold fish type person. Like, I've tried to be more gregarious on stage, and it's just everyone's like, ooh, so, yeah. And I grew up in a different...
to just be like, here's a story of, maple leaves, and just didn't feel right?
Well, and I think it's the way I grew up. My dad would give me 3 minutes to talk at the dinner table, or I think it was 5 minutes. He would set a timer.
Did he give you the light?
Wait,
bro, that's crazy.
That's so crazy.
Because I was quiet, and my sister and my mom just talk, like they're big interrupters, and they can just talk forever. And I will be silent. And I've actually done that before. I was once on a show in Australia where I was on the show. It was a chat show for a full hour. It was supposed to be where you're supposed to jump in and
like a panel show.
Maria, is it the Great Debate?
Yes, I said nothing for 60 minutes.
I've seen that tape. You are not lying. You're not lying.
Wait, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Can we go
There's
back
so much
to
to unpack.
the
Big
thing
timer.
you just
To the
said?
table,
So
yeah.
is it? So I get. Is it? This is your chance to talk as if you didn't get to speak, and this is your chance to get it, or is it? You need to talk, bro. We need you to actually converse with his family.
No, it was, this is your chance. Like, this is your chance.
Jesus.
Everyone's got to be quiet, because otherwise I won't get to talk. Because I would try to say something, then I would just feel kind of like, and I still feel the same way with my family. Like, my sister's hilarious, and she's just louder than me. And so, yeah, that's part of the longing to be amplified and lit in front of thousands is due to her.
So the timer goes off and it's a hard, like before your punchline of your story, it's just no more.
It's a hard out, which is what I'm calling my disappearance at the age of 75.
Oh my God.
Do you ever feel guilty that you're selling something out? Like, I feel guilty sometimes about like exploiting a poverty narrative and growing up homeless sometimes. Do you ever feel like you're leaning too much in that for industry's sakes of like generals? Just like we were talking about reviews. Like, I know you went to a white nationalist meeting.
Yeah.
How much of that was for the show and how much was that for your genuine curiosity as a human being?
It's for everything I do is for my the genuine curiosity of my life, or like I investing in my sincere side means going to like white nationalist meetings. And I've gone to churches and mosques and places that Jews shouldn't, or places that Jews usually aren't. And I've gone to different countries. When I was in South Korea for the Olympics, my brother was in South Korea competing in the Olympics, which is a whole other thing.
Wait, and he doesn't want you to talk about him? Hey,
Yeah,
I just want to keep a low profile in the Olympics.
Well, he doesn't want to be mocked, but I don't feel guilty talking about what it means to be Jewish. I would feel guilty if I talked about Jews, but it's certainly not for like industry's sake, because like you say, it's not super unique to be a Jew, but like that is a big part of my identity. So when I talk about that, and I have things that sometimes people go, oh man, your shows are so like personal, but like I have different things that I think are personal. Like, I don't talk about my romantic relationships or my interpersonal relationships on stage, because that to me is like my private life.
I always feel guilty now, that I do stuff about my family, and it's like, well, yeah, I'm trying to just talk about myself now because I, realize how that can be hurtful to people. But I've started talking about, I'm in a jillion 12-step groups, or three. And, one of the things that I sincerely respect about those things, are that they are safe spaces, but then they are so funny that I feel like I have to tell jokes about them, because I have to say, one of the rules of 12-step cults is that you're not supposed to say that you're in a specific group.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're not supposed to say I'm a.
Do you just say cults, Maria? Do you just say
Yes, I
cults?
did.
That's a fair description, though. That's why I've been turned off by anything that's like that. Of like,
they're cults because they have these weird rules where you go. The one thing that I like that makes it less a cult in 12-step is that it's free. Number 2, free. Number 3, they can't kick you out. Like, even if I go to all the meetings and, bring a bottle of Jack Daniels and I'm eating an ice cream cake with a stolen porn DVD, all anyone will say is, you newcomer, keep coming back. But
you're scooping the ice cream cake with the porn DVD.
With the porn DVD.
God, it's not being used, not being watched.
You come back the next week with slightly lower proof alcohol, and they're like, okay, so you're getting there.
No, exactly.
Great to have you here. Have you ever tried to push it though? Of like, what could I do?
I do talk. I've started talking about in my Zoom shows, like about which ones I'm in, which feels like I shouldn't, because it is this one private thing in my life that I've felt, like somehow I shouldn't break the rule, or it's disrespectful or something. Yeah, and sincerity and all that stuff. So, anyways, it's odd to be able to have something that is private and important to you, but also, how can you share the ridiculousness of it as well?
So that's what I'm having trouble with right now, is family members, even though it's my experience that this happened, have asked me to not do certain things, or they've tried to correct the record, even though this is my experience, or I'm bending it because it's funny. How do you handle that responsibility? As far as like, I'm about to put out a special, never. We'll see when that happens. But I genuinely wonder, because it's like, it's stuff that means something to me. I feel better that I can process this pain and make people laugh. But the people that I'm talking about are like, I see it different. It actually happened this way.
I mean, I've told my sister's written 3 books. I said, awesome. You tell your side.
About childhood or about her religion?
About childhood, about memoirs, about stuff, and I didn't, edit her experience about like she had one hilarious point of view where she said the reason she beat me up so much as a kid was because she knew I was too sensitive and she was trying to make me tougher so I'd be ready for the real world. And I'm like, really?
Yeah, I got
seems like
the hard part is she beat you up to a timer.
Exactly. I think you were just 12 and you were having a terrible time and you just thought, I think I'll punch this kid in the gut.
At least you offered a reason. None of my bullies ever submitted in writing why they were bullying me.
Exactly.
They responded.
So as a performer, how much responsibility do you have to be like, well, no, I know it's entertaining for the crowd and it's my experience, which is this, versus protecting someone that didn't sign up to be in the entertainment industry or to have their dirty laundry aired out?
The first time I was ever on TV, I talked about how fire my mom's pussy must have been. So I've only spoken pretty positively about the people. Like the first joke I ever made was
like, is this
like,
that Tupac story?
Yeah, that one too. It was just like, my mom's pussy is so fire. That's the only reason why I'm dope. And you can tell who has terrible mom pussy by their behavior. And like, if you meet someone and tag, punch, if they act like this, their mama pussy is dry. And then, I was 21 at the time, and then Comedy Central was like, yeah, we can just put that on TV.
Yeah.
And my mother is a principal of a high school at the time. And they all saw the joke. And she is now a legend.
That's hilarious.
Nice.
Your principal night.
It's just a bunch of 15, 16-year-old boys trying to mess with some pussy that's above their pay grade.
That's hilarious.
My mom had a great attitude towards that, stuff too. Like she, I think she did just pass away, and my dad was decluttering a few hours after she died. Wow. And
that's a dad way to process things as far as like, I could do something.
We gotta clean up. We just need to put things somewhere.
Well, we're not gonna need any of this anymore.
Let's make a trip to Goodwill. He handed my sister and I a shoebox, and he said very solemnly, in it were a large, high quality purple plastic dildo vibrator, and then a small butterfly style vibrator. And he said, she would have wanted you girls to have these.
Oh my goodness me.
And it's true. It's true. She would. I said, yeah, I'll take them. But my sister said, no, you will not. And she saged them and then threw them in the trash.
She saved them to pass on to her children.
Yeah, no. Oh my God, these were your
That would have been so sweet.
It's like a family watch.
Did you want to hang on to it for the sentimental value, or just like, for me in my head, like growing up poor, I'm like, the money, like those things.
Those are pricey. That's what I thought. I thought that's like $200 down the drain with shipping.
Vintage vibrators?
They were brand new. I mean, those were some good looking models.
I like that it's passed down like a sword.
Yeah, I really hope there's like someone that works at Bloomhouse listening, because I think that I got haunted by my mom's vibrator. Come on, bro. This is like right there. This is easy money.
Oh my God, it's so true.
It's the ghost of everyone she thought of while she was using it.
Her boyfriend from high school, Roger Getz, he was Jewish. And it was probably the reason my mom was an honorary member of Hadassah for so many years.
I'll check at the meeting on Tuesday, Maria. I'll see if anyone knows. That's so funny. I was in Duluth for the first time last year, and I walked up to the Bob Dylan house, because there's a house that Dylan was born in. He's got a childhood home. And I'm outside the house, and this woman comes out on the porch, and she's like, Bob Dylan? And I'm like, yeah. She's like, you want to see the house? And I'm like, sure. So she takes me, and takes me in a Bob Dylan's house, and there's a husband sitting at a kitchen table reading a magazine, and he sees me. He's like, Bob Dylan, and I'm like, yeah. He's like, yeah, go upstairs. And like, it's just a real insane thing that
That's wonderful.
it was so cool. And then the woman was like, you know about the Armory show, right? And I was like, no idea. And I guess the last show Buddy Holly played before he died, Bob was at this Armory in Duluth. Bob Dylan went as a teenager and was in the front row. And there's a photo that I saw while I was in Duluth of Bob Dylan in the front row looking at Buddy Holly, which is like so creepy and crazy and weird.
That is great. Well, and I love the one thing I love, or one of many things I love about Duluth, is that it is ridiculously easy to get in touch with anybody. Like my husband likes this band called Lowe, and they're from Duluth, and we just Facebook, message them, and they said, "Want to get lunch today?" Like it's not like Elliot in New York. It's like can we reschedule it in 2022?
Right.
I got a window.
Was it like what? Is it like Alan? It's like Alan Sparhawk in them?
Alan Sparhawk and his wife Mimi.
Oh my
We've been to
God.
their house now.
That's wild. That's insane.
So it's just like now. It's not like LA. Like we have to hang out, and then you'll see them in 2 years. This is like
No, they're like, no, you're coming over, right? Yeah, no, it's really
yeah. A huge fan of you
hilarious.
guys. Well, do you want to live together? Okay.
Exactly.
That's what you did. That's exactly what she did to me though, Moses. I was like,
No,
hey, I'm
that's
coming
not
to LA.
We've got extra space. I've always wanted to have kids in theory, so I figure if somebody's in their 30s, it's like I can handle it for 3 to 4 weeks. I'll make you eggs.
Comics are so charitable sometimes. It's like insane. Like the amount of comedians who have hosted me in like various countries and cities. Like Elaine Boozler, I did like one show with Elaine Boozler, and she's like, stay at my place when I'm at like, and it's a real community. That's what I miss so much about this. Like I ran into Chris Fleming on the street a couple of weeks ago, and I wanted to like grab his leg and never let go. Like I just miss running into people. I miss the whole.
Yeah, but not scheduling people, but like accidentally seeing people is a
Yeah.
great way to do it. What would it take for anyone to perform again? Like what kind of restrictions, what kind of death rate? Is anyone thinking about that, or they're just moving on?
A new president.
That there's some sort of cure. That would be good, because I just wouldn't want to do a club and then somebody get ill on
Yeah.
my watch.
Right.
That's my biggest fear is like I just get an email. It's just like, great show. My grandma died.
Yeah. Yes.
What a unload to put on you.
Yeah.
But
And
that
it's just
Tupac
like-
story about your mom is fucking worth it. I gotta say, it's not that good.
I'm over there with Maria where it's just like, I don't know, man. I feel like there's been times in history where we had to take a break.
Yeah.
And this might just be like, yeah, everybody take a break. I mean, I understand what Moses, he was promised something that God took from him. But
That's how I
mean-
frame it in my head.
He'll be
God,
fine.
you know? And by God, I mean deadline. Yeah, but you're fine, Jack, to be like, I'm just gonna focus on other things and be a human being.
I'm not fine with it. I would way rather see you guys all the time and do stand up and be drunk till 3 a.m. at the store or whatever. But it is what it is. And if you don't react and change some shit, you're gonna just be a sad sack at the crib.
Performing in that weird liminal 4 or 5 day gray space between when the world was normal and when the world was shut down.
It's crazy.
I feel comfortable saying this, but I said I was on tour. I was like legit on a tour of the UK that had a couple weeks left. And I said to my agent, like, hey, I think I should cancel the shows. Because Kat Cohen had canceled her shows and gone home. And I called her and I was like, is there going to be a problem? And she wrote, bro, yeah. And so my agents were like, why? What's the big deal? Like, it's not a problem. And I was like, yeah. And then my dad is in charge of distributing PPE now for the hospitals and universities in Massachusetts. And he called me. He's like, hey, I never tell you what to do, but maybe you should look into canceling your shows. And so I called the agents back and I was like, I want to cancel the shows. And they're like, you are so alarmist, but like, we will deal with this sort of like Jewish neuroses. And these are my UK agents. And they're like, we shut it down, but I did one last show in Glasgow and And that night had like a real like last dance on the Titanic feel to it. It was like I was like, welcome to the last show we're going to go to for 5 months. And people really, it had a special, sad feeling to it that I'll never be able to forget. And those agents, by the way, like their whole company shut down. Like that they don't, one of them's like working as a carpenter now.
My goodness.
That's such a far fall.
That seems like a ridiculous far from grace. Like everybody at Quibi already has a new job.
How bad do you be like, COVID's not real, because then you have to do construction.
Bro. That's
they call that the reverse Jesus, where you go from an elevated position back to carpentry. It's
So now he doesn't send you scripts, he just sends you tape measures?
He genuinely was like, hey, I'm working on this table. And that's the kind of thing. He's like, I'm working on this table. Do you want to be involved? We got a good part for it. No, but like.
I got legs attached. Legs are attached. We're circling some stain. We're looking at mahogany.
Moses does spend lots of time on deadline. That's the.
Just keeps refreshing every moment. Who got something? Who's doing what?
Is anyone doing better than me?
Must be hell to work at deadline if you have any showbiz aspirations. That every day you just get 100 notices of people who have something fun to announce.
Deadline is just the school announcements of the entertainment business.
Well,
it's just a dude comes on and just like. In the morning, we'll have a new show with Jason Bateman and newcomer.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
Right, but the one solace they get is when someone gets recast at the table read. When they that makes you feel better about your entire life and the fact that you hit someone with your car in 2013. It's like, well, they showed up, they were who they are, and they weren't good enough.
Oh my God, no shot.
I don't think I can up that. Your story's more beautiful, but my last performance was at the newsstand in that lower room.
Yeah.
Awesome. Super fucking awesome room. Love those people over there. Love those guys. And I was on a scout with my buddy Richie Keene for a show that me and my friends were getting ready to make. And because of COVID, it all just shut down. Life is fine, move on. But it was like, we're making the TV show. We were scouting. Moses knows all this. We're making the TV show. We're scouting. We were like getting all the shots down. We fully went through our list. We got everybody ready to go. The Monday when Tom Hanks got it, the day we shut everything down. Trump said he's going to shut down all flights. And so Viacom had to give me an earlier flight. Had to put me on a flight back to LA so I wouldn't be trapped in New York. I get there and everybody from the UK is just standing in a group because they wouldn't let them fly home.
Yeah.
And so it was just really like scary. Like everybody was being incredibly rude to Asian people. Like I was watching the xenophobia happen in front of my eyes. Like it was crazy. And then there was just like a group of some biscuit eating motherfuckers just standing off to the side with nowhere to go.
Air fryer has changed you.
So funny.
I luckily got on the plane, flew over. We were like, this is just like people going crazy. Nope. Literally the last show I did was at the stand, hanging out with I think it was who was there that night? Like Clayton English was with me for some reason. It was just a great night. And then the whole world shut down.
Even live stand-up now, and Moses, I'm sure your experience is different. And I'm about to I'm going to do some clubs at the end of the year. But I did a show where the stage was the back of a pickup truck. And I looked out and I was just like, what kind of world are we living in? We're just live from the Thunderdome. You're just every show has a genuine post-apocalyptic feel to it. I'm with Jack a bit on Zoom shows. I do them now because I can't live without some kind of stand-up. But it feels very much like I bombed a couple weeks ago 2 feet from my bed.
That's hard. You can't leave the venue.
If I really want to look at a place I truly bombed, I have to go to Sunnyvale, California, and remember 2013. Now it's just remember 3 months ago where on my couch I bombed?
Where a guy kept playing video games with his sister while I was on stage.
Oh, that's great. They completely tuned out.
Yeah, just completely.
That's better than not Levy. It's just it's on a tab.
That's the other thing. There's no audience accountability. So if they heckle, it's That motherfucker in Wisconsin. What you really gonna do?
Yeah, you can come back and we'll just turn off his camera.
You can't crush a heckler who lives in a different state.
So everyone can stay on except Maria. You have 3 seconds to say who you are. It's out of time. So sorry. Yeah, we are out of time, but this is honestly so much fun that, I was out in a very real way, having a rough morning for whatever reason. And this made me feel better. So thank you for been on this with me. It's just nice to see everyone coming out.
It's good to see people's faces.
Does anyone have anything coming up that they want to get the message out about? I know Jack has Doomsday Mixtape, which is the podcast I was talking about, which I highly recommend. Don't fall asleep to it. It's hilarious.
So good.
I think Big Mouth's coming out at some point. Some other news will probably come out when white people allow me to say it.
I'm giving you permission.
Yeah.
I can say it? Okay, guys, guess what?
I've got an album out. I just put out an album because I was like, I need somehow to still be putting out stand-up. But I put out an album called Until Now, which I recorded at Acme, Maria, in Minneapolis.
So I love Acme. I love
Lovely.
Acme.
And also, I've been phone banking for the Biden campaign a lot. And if people have spare time now, you should phone bank. It's super easy, and apparently it really helps. So like, now it sounds so dumb, but like, I don't know. It'd be really nice to have a new president in a couple of weeks. So maybe
Just don't ruin my birthday.
Is that your birthday, Jack?
My birthday is the 6th, so whatever happens on the 3rd. I know the voting's probably gonna take 1 to 2 weeks to actually get everything together, and I know they're gonna try and destroy the election. We can talk about this another day. But just like, let me at least, if you're gonna either blow Biden out the water and we're like, we live in a terrible place, don't make it some weird contention that my birthday is awkward.
Yeah. Right. Everyone needs to phone bank. We're not doing any birthday.
Either Biden blows him out or Trump blows him out, but I need my day.
You need your day. It's important to
In all of
scream.
this.
And that's very Scorpio. That's very Scorpio.
Thank
Scorpio.
you.
Maria, you have anything coming up that people should check out?
I have a free Audible book that you can get on Audible called You Are a Comedy Special. It's about 2 hours long, and it's a 15-step guide how to write your own 1-hour comedy. How to force yourself to write a full hour of comedy, because that's what I have to do. It doesn't come naturally. Anyway, so that's the only thing I have to plug.
Great.
Also, you're selling 2 vibrators in case anybody is curious.
Well, I have to say those have been saged and put in local trash for Duluth, Minnesota.
It's illegal to sell things that have been saged. That's our show. This is so fun. On a very personal
Thank you,
level.
Moses.
Yeah.
Moses,
Thank
we
you,
love
Moses. So
you,
nice
buddy.
to see you guys.
It's
Thank you so
nice
much.
to see you.
Maria Bamford, Alex Edelman, and Jak Knight. Thank you, and hang in there. Hope you have a great week. Bye. So that's going to do it for us. I'm Moses Storm. Huge thank you to Alex Edelman, Jak Knight, and Maria Bamford for being here. In November 17th, I want to bring something up. We're going to do something a little bit different with Moses and Friends. We're going to partner with InCrowd. And what they do is essentially a virtual stand-up show where we are actually on stage with a mic, people doing material, and we are surrounded by screens, which is all of you. So you can buy a ticket to that show, and you can be a part of the show. A lot of the times there's interaction with the audience, or at least behind us. So, wear your one good shirt. That's going to be on November 17th. And we'll put up a ticket link for that. And you can follow all the info and all the updates on the Team Coco Live Instagram. So Team Coco Live on Instagram. Go there, and we hope to see you there. It's going to be a really fun experience. Good night.
drops, it's the music in your soul. When you're grinding from